Today is a morning of satisfaction, rest, accomplishment, and happiness. I got Nika propped up on the beach, and she looks pretty. Look at that. After 3 weeks of planning, going over different procedures to stand her on the beach, I went with using bamboo. It was the most practical. I'm here in the Philippines, and bamboo is as many know, is a very utilitarian material to work with. And it's strong, it's abundant, it's cheap. The locals know how to work with it. All you need is nylon and a machete. And here I'm standing up my 38-foot Swan with a nearly 60-foot rig and a wing keel, a balanced rudder, a low profile, sleek design. It's a deep drafted boat, not extremely deep, but 1.7 meters, almost nearly 6 feet. That's a balancing act, as you can see. It's not as easy if I had a long keel that had the entire base of the boat to rest on. Here I only have, what is that? Maybe 6 feet of keel. The cool thing is that this has a wing keel, or kind of a modified wing keel. Let's take a closer look. So the keel on this boat, it's a deep draft. What would you call that? It is encapsulated into the hull, which is cool. So it's not just bolted on like you see many. What is this? A spade keel? It's a fin keel. Or yeah, this is a fin keel, but it's encapsulated, which is cool. And it has, you can see, kind of a bulge here in the front, which kind of shows that it does have a little extra structure than a pure racing boat. So that's good to know. And it kind of molds into the wing, or the fin, I'm sorry. And then it kind of evolves into a wing more towards the back. So this is not a full wing, it's like half of a wing. The weight is probably perfectly centered. And actually there's a lot of sense to that, actually. That way it doesn't pick up as much floating debris, lines, etc. It does look like there's some imperfections that have shown over time, like that crack right there, or that in between the joint there's a hitch. So that's gonna catch on things, but I'm gonna clean all that up. There is some kind of weird delaminating going on over there. This boat sorely needs to dry out. It's been through a really rough past, let's say 10 years. It was a real baby. This thing came from Sweden, and it's spent its first years of life in luxury. This thing, believe it or not, has in the V-berth, it has a tiled jacuzzi. So the guy that first built this boat in Sweden, the mold is from Swan, and then he personalized it, and he made it actually not an actual swan. He called it a Ben-Hur, a famous, what is it, actor from the 60s. And he kind of had real dreamy visions of what he was going to do with this boat. but he ended up selling it in the Southeast Asia somewhere in 2015. This boat was built in 2003, and then it went into a German man's hands, and then it was neglected, and that's where I'm picking it up here. So it really needs to be dried out. The whole body just needs to be dried out, needs to be cleaned up real good, sanded down, washed and cleaned inside out, and just completely thoroughly aerated, and then sealed up real good with epoxy and primer and paint and whatever else needs be. But I'm just so excited to have this thing on the beach. I got a baby due this month, and having this boat just out there in the anchors floating around was a concerning question mark in my head. I didn't want to. I want this boat. This boat needs to be taken care of, and so this is a major step forward on that. I love this boat. I love this boat. I can't say this is gonna be my favorite boat, but it's just like any boat. I love boats, and I just love it. You know, it has its own character, has its own quirks. This is gonna be an awesome sailing boat. This is just a wicked sailing boat with that keel and the shape of that hull. It's got a balanced rudder on it for real smooth sailing. It's got a tiller, low windage, real sleek windage, nice big rig, modern rigging. This is going to be an excellent sailing boat, but it's not. There's comforts that are sacrificed in that performance, and so I'll be able. This will be a nice way for me to explore. What's the balance of, you know, in boats, of having a, you know, as far as my own preference, what will be my ideal? Will it be something like this, or will it be something a little bit more wholesome? The boat I have is wholesome, but you know, I complain that it's too wholesome, it's too safe, and maybe has performance to be desired on the boat that I have now, or certain things. Like this is almost too extreme performance, and my boat is too extreme comfort. It's the best way to put it in a nutshell. But anyways, here it is, looking at it. I got those bamboos. There's still some more I would like to reinforce. I could put some lower cross members, although I'm not sure I need it. I put the upper cross members, and I put longitudinal supports. I got lateral, longitude. I got I got two A-frames. Everything is blocked to the boat. There's two mounting points at the mast, one up high, one at the base. In the back, it's got a little bit of a kind of a bridle that is going around the hull, down below the hull, from side to side, keeping it stabilized. And it's just so cool to use this material and to see what you know, that it's such a mighty material, bamboo. I was gonna go with steel legs and kind of a hoisting system. I was basically gonna do scaffolding, metal scaffolding, which was kind of a fun idea, because you have more control. You have if you use metal legs and scaffolding, you could basically almost kind of hang the boat on it. It's a little bit more engineering involved, and this is just straightforward stabilize your boat. And I got it out of the water here. There was a 2.2 meter high tide last night. My boat is 1.7 draft, 1.7 meters draft. So that means that at maximum low tide, I'll have half a meter of elevation clearance above the water line. So I'll be completely in the dry, as I nearly am now. Tide is rising now. She looks good. I just can't wait to actually just keep on cleaning and keep on witnessing her revival. So, you know, I got to get those hatches open, and it's just drying out. I could just empathize right now with the boat. I could just empathize the relaxation she must be enjoying right now, to finally just get some dry into her bones. And then I'm gonna clean her up real good. I'm gonna dig out any type of osmosis in that hole. We'll see how bad it is. We'll see. Maybe it's not as bad as I'm imagining, but I'll definitely dig it out if it exists. I'm gonna use some good epoxy to seal up any structural issues, and I'm going to primer it up, and I'm going to put like 5 or 6 layers of some excellent quality copper paint on the bottom, anti-fouling copper paint, whatever I can find, load it on there. And also I'm gonna clean up that paint job too. I'm gonna give that a nice light sanding, and kind of like a wet sanding on the paint. It most likely needs completely new paint anyways, but I could see parts that are okay. I could see parts of the paint that could just be buffed out, but it has been actually, this boat was beached unintentionally in a passing hurricane, and it sustained damage to its starboard. And I've already cleaned up a good amount of that, but you can see it scratched against the rocks, and it was beating against the rocky, sandy beach. So it's gonna look real good. This thing just, it's not gonna take, it's gonna take a lot of love, but it ain't gonna take much to look good again. It ain't gonna take much, but it's not gonna just look good, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be integrally sound. This boat is hitting the waters again, baby. Come on!